Welcome back to the Gateway RV Transport Podcast, where we get a chance to meet and just kind of converse with some of our drivers. So, welcome, Charlie. You had to make the long journey up here from...
I'm out of Greenville, Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah. Tennessee. You said, just before we started, you said you're a hillbilly through and through?
Yes.
What does that mean?
I was born in the mountains, and I ain't never left.
Okay.
So we're not hillbillies because we were born in the mountains, but we left.
I like the mountains. I like drinking. Yeah, I'm an old time drunk. I like my moonshine.
Just not at the same time you're driving.
I like to do my thing my way. Like most hillbillies. We talk different, we act different.
There we go.
That's me.
Okay. Well, let's start from the beginning. Where were you born, and where did you grow up?
I was born in East Tennessee, out there pretty close to where I live now. I've lived down at a little town called Bellyton. Over there in the area where I live, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia. I've lived a little bit of everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you move around a lot when you were growing up?
My family were sharecroppers.
Okay.
We were poor people. And we lived in the mountains and raised crops and for just a share of them. And that's the way it was. Went to school, graduated high school, went to the Army. They want me to come back and buy a farm, and I said, no, make a 10 bill, peck shit chickens first. Ain't been no farmer. And I went back to school, took several classes, wound up back in the truck seat. And I've trucked for 50 some odd years.
How long were you in the Army for?
I went in 66 and got out in 69. Now I pulled a term of, what do you call that? National Guard?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't National Guard, reserves. I was in the reserves for a while. And I got a divorce. And when I went to get the divorce, that's when I went to South Carolina. And I didn't come back until it was time to break the stranglehold. I can't fight the state. That's the reason I left South Carolina, to break the stranglehold.
And what was your role in the Army?
I was an aircraft electrician.
Okay.
I installed things like the minigun systems, the chip detectors, repair bullet hole damage. You know where bullets shoot the wires into? Crawl through and troubleshoot.
And you served in Vietnam?
Beg your pardon?
You went to Vietnam?
23 and a half months.
Thank you for your service, Charlie.
I went for a year, and then I got a letter from home that wasn't favorable to my liking. So I went down and took a 6 months extension. Company commander was something less than a gentleman. He found out about it, took me and put me on a jet and sent me stateside. And like all hillbillies, when it come time to go back, I wasn't ready to go back. So I showed up 23 days late, and they give me a choice. Go to jail or take another 6 months extension with no 30-day leave. That's fine. So I wound up 23 and a half months. And I come home drunk. ETS, I didn't want to talk to them. They wanted me to go to the flight line in Texas and work on the new aircraft. I wasn't done to do that.
What got you into trucking originally? What was your first trucking job?
Military. I drove trucks and stuff around on the farm. Around heavy equipment my whole life. And in the front seat of a truck, I get to do more moving. So I get out and I'm taking pickups and moving full mobile homes, you know, and towing cars and doing stuff like that. And for myself, I run a junkyard for a while, my own. And as things progressed and I got tired of it, I went to South Carolina and hooked up with this family of truckers. I took him, put him in a truck, and the deal was that then he put me in a truck. You know, we was to run together, build a company. He didn't, after he got started, he didn't consider it that way. So I wound up getting me a truck and just went off on my own. Pulled away from everybody. And I've done things my way ever since. Until I got with you all.
And now we do things whatever Alyssa tells us to do, I guess.
I do whatever the company needs because I'm a, y'all don't need me if I can't do what you all want me to do. You ain't got no use for me. If it's just for me, I'm not taking care of you. You don't need that. You need somebody that we take care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I believe.
Well, and you really do as well, and so we really appreciate that. There's a lot of trips that you go on that you're willing to take, even though it's some of the trips that are harder for us to dispatch. If it's a bigger unit or it's going long miles or whatever the case may be, you're not afraid of anything.
Well, it's all work to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got stuff to do, well, if I sit back here and I won't take care of you, why should I expect you to take care of me? You don't need me. So, to me, you take care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
If you got something you don't, I'll take it. I'll make the best of it. And generally, I make by doing it. Because that stuff always pays better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's fact.
Yeah.
And consequently, it helps me. That's the reason I'm who I am. Because of the way I look at stuff, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always had something to do. Whether I want it or not, I have something to do.
How did you get started with Gateway? How did you hear about it?
Walter, he had lost his lungs, and he had to park his old truck. We had been friends for years, and he knew somebody that was done this. There was some relation to him or something, and he was doing it. So when they went to the e-log business, I parked my truck, and I bought me a dually because I know what was going to happen. And I called Walter up, and I had Walter to feed me the figures, information. And I sat down and done me some calculation. And I said, yeah, I can do this. And they thought I was crazy. And the 1st of January of 17, I faxed Gateway my information, the application. Before I got out of the truck stop, you all called me And we set up a interview. I came up, went through it, took my drug test, and hooked a camper the same day. The honesty, the candor, the whole atmosphere up here is, you all may not be hillbilly, but you hillbilly. It's like being at home. It's like a family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like. So, what else you need to know?
How did you meet Walt? You said you trucked with him for a long time.
Me and Walt worked for Murray Tomino up in Pennsylvania. And regardless of what company he was with, she was a dispatcher. And we was all in there together. And you don't pay no attention to what's on the side of the truck. And we just got to be friends. And incidents happened, and we just back each other. I liked him. In fact, he was out of Kentucky, didn't have nothing to do with it. and we were friends. Friends to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Walt, who was driving for about as long as, came on with us about as long as you had. He was my version of like a country Yoda. I don't know, just a wise old guy.
Fun. Yeah.
And many of our drivers probably know him. Of course, a lot, or knew him. But a lot of them probably didn't. But Walt was in the middle of COVID, sometime in COVID, passed away, and was.
It was more toward the end of COVID. Me and him took 2 campers to Utah. Washington. Went to Washington. And he got back a day before I did, because I had to go a lot further than he did. And he got back a day before I did, and he picked up a camper, and he went home, and he was on his way to Florida. And when I got back, I picked up a camper, and I went to Mississippi.
That sounds right.
And me and Walt talked every day. Walt was like a brother. I mean, me and him was close. And when it come time to leave, I don't remember where I called him or he called me. I can't tell you that. But anyway, Walt said he was sick and he was going to the doctor the next day. I was on Sunday. And I run down to Mississippi or wherever it was, and I dropped my camper. And before I got past, I hadn't even got past Chattanooga. And he called me up, and he said, the doctor said I had COVID. Said, you're going to need to come pick my camper up and deliver it. So I told him I couldn't the next day, but the day after that I picked his camper up and delivered. And that's what I done. And I come up here, and picked up a camper and went to, where did I go? Anyway, I went west. And before I could get back over here, Walt done passed away. So, that was a big loss.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely was. Justin and I, of course, don't have nearly as much life experience as most of our drivers. We've for our age, maybe we've been able to do and see some neat stuff, but we very much respect and look up to a lot of our drivers, and Walt as well as you, Charlie, are two guys that we've been able to learn a lot from, and so we really appreciate that. It's a neat experience being in our position to where we are able to work with such a diverse group of drivers from different places, different ages, all kinds of different backgrounds. And so we're forever learning from these really neat people that we get to come in contact with. And so Gateway, as well as our lives personally, have been greatly enriched from you and guys like Walt. And so thank you for that. I mean, it's nice to be able to work with interesting and fun and caring people.
Pure outlaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I think of Charlie, I think outlaw. Yeah. That's probably.
Well, we won't have you tell some of the stories that you told us, but that's a pretty fitting description.
We didn't lie to you about nothing.
Now, well, since you've been doing RVs, what's one of the neatest places that you've been able to see?
Most unique place.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. of A.
Okay.
We live in the greatest and the most beautiful land in the world. Anybody crossing this country can't see the hand of God, he's hopeless. That's the way I look at it. It's from place to place, the scenery is different, but it's all beautiful. Even the desert. It's breathtaking.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to a new driver, somebody that's just hired on doing RVs?
I would say maybe be kind, courteous to both the customers and the people around you. Watch how the old hands, the people that's been in it for a while, does stuff. Because, believe it or not, you can learn a lot by just watching. Don't get in no big hurry, because haste makes waste. Generally, that's when you make your mistakes, is when you really,
Yeah, great advice.
Huh?
That's great advice. There's a lot, you got to learn from people who've been doing it. And
if you're doing something, well, let's say you're going to go trucking, and you know nothing about trucking. You know nothing about it. So when you're going to go trucking, it's all new to you. You're doomed to fail. Because trucking industry is a rough industry.
Mm-hmm.
The only way you can succeed in trucking is you got to take a step back and watch the old hands, the ones that's been in it for years. You got to pattern yourself after the past in order to handle the future. And once you get a hang of that, and the way they do stuff, what to do, what not to do, what to take, where to go, I don't know how to put it in the proper words, but it will make you a success or that you would doom to fail. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's like my uncle. My uncle had his daughter married a boy, and he was in trucking. It costed my uncle $500 a week for that son-in-law to truck. So he comes along, and here Charlie is. Hey, I'm bankrupt. There ain't no way in the world I can make it. I told him, "Oh, come on, get in the truck with me, and I'll show you how to make money. I'll show you how to turn this thing around." I said I couldn't do it. But I done it. I've trucked for years. I fed my family. I've got what I got because of the truck. It's a hard life. You do a lot of hard work. But it's a rewarding life. But 2 out of every 3 that goes into trucking fails. Why? Because they ain't learned to back up and watch the old folk. Who's been doing it for a long time? Let's take you're going to farming. You know much about farming?
Not much. No.
All right, you're going to give you a farm all of a sudden, and you're going to go to farming.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to make it a success?
Well, yeah, a lot of YouTube videos.
You've got to back up
Yeah.
and look at the people that's been in farming
Yeah.
for years.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? How do you do it? When do you do this? When do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
And these old farmers will guide you right on to success. All of a sudden, here you are, all of their knowledge and all of their experience, you're applying it and don't even realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
They've done made you a success. You're now a full-fledged farmer as good as they are. Maybe better because you have the modern technology and you understand it more than they do. So it puts you even a step ahead of them. But you first had to back up and go through the past to get to the future.
Mm-hmm.
Who were some of those mentors for you? Those people that helped show you the ropes?
There was a lot of them. Otho Gosnell, Ronald, Jerry, Dean, Calvin. Those are all Gosnell. I was the round man. I guess he's out of prison now. Turkey, Teddy Bear. There's just a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Old boys that trucked all their life. They were into everything, done everything, been everywhere. Even Junior Johnson and them boys. Yeah, they was around in mountain boys, they good
Yeah.
old boys.
Well, now you're that guy.
Huh?
Now you're the old boys. Now you're one of those old guys.
I'm an old guy, but I ain't one of them good old boys.
When you're in your truck, what do you spend your time listening to?
Music, a lot of country. Willie Nelson, Roadhouse,
Okay.
gospel music.
Some of that hardcore, like rap stuff. Is that kind of your right up your alley?
We ain't listening to garbage.
Or the opera, maybe, and what's of the
I like classical music.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
some classicals, mostly country.
Country is the mainstay. Stuff like that. Once in a while, I'll turn on this comedy, but most of it, when it goes to getting nasty, it's no, I don't need that.
Mm-hmm. From where you're sitting right now, looking back, what would you say is something that you're most proud of?
From the present back through my past,
Yep. Through your life.
my kids.
How many kids do you have?
Altogether, I got 6, maybe 8. my wife had 3 boys, and I had 2 girls, and then me and her had a girl. Then we more or less adopted some other children. Our home has always been a home of sanctuary, refuge, whatever you want to call it. If you're in trouble, you get your feet on my ground, there ain't nobody gonna bother you. I don't put up with a lot of noise. There's definitely ain't nobody come on my property and jump on you. I've got a reputation for it. I don't put up with it. My wife wouldn't even put up with it. She was a little old country gal, didn't believe in, if the law said it, it was gospel. So she got with me, and after she got with me, she became like me, and our boundary, you get on our ground, ain't nobody gonna bother you. If they do, they gotta go through us. I promise you that ain't gonna be easy. We take all comers. If your wife gets on you, come down to the house. She ain't gonna bother you on my ground.
All right, I have a backup place if I ever need.
That's the way it is. That's how I wound up with the lady that just passed away. We've got one lady down there at the house. We took her in. She's 17-year-old. She hadn't even finished high school, straight out of the orphanage. We took her in. She's now a lieutenant on the police force. So, I mean, we don't care how old they are or how young they are. You never turn a hungry mouth away. And if somebody needs help, you help them. That's the way God made us. And if it costs money, it just costs money. What's money? Money's a tool. And the Bible says not to worship money. So we don't. We use it like it's supposed to be used. And if it can't do you no good, you don't need it. So, and we live simple. So when you can take 3 sets of kids and you put them together and you make brothers and sisters out of them where they'll fight and die for each other, you figure out what kind of home we got. Mama's done gone, but the kids are still as solid as they ever was.
Yeah. I think that just speaks to your character. So, I mean, when you come into the office, you're always making jokes and kind of the outlaw. But I think deep down, you can kind of see who Charlie really is, a good person, which is one of the reasons that we like the ability to get to know our drivers a little bit more. So we've known you for a while. In fact, how long have you been with Gateway?
6 years? Does that sound right?
6 years.
Yeah.
Coming in first 17, January 17.
Okay.
Yeah. Been a little while?
I think it was 6th of January, wasn't it?
My memory's not that good. I don't know.
My experience with Gateway, when I got to meet you all, the whole family,
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm home. Yep, I'll be here for y'all have to run me out.
Well, we'll try not to. I know Alyssa's
If
trying.
you run me out, I'll just come and sit at the gate.
Well, that's not in the plans.
But no, in serious, I am an outlaw. I'm an outlaw in that I like doing things my way. That's the reason I buy a truck, to do things my way. Now I realize that I've got to conform to do things your way too. But it's still, when I pull out of here with that camper, I'm back to the old Charlie to think my way. But I've still got to abide by the law to a great deal. Now, don't ask me to conform to the law all the way. I can't do it.
Yeah, I think it would be a sad place the day that Charlie just says, you know what, I'm just going to do everything that they tell me. we need some pushback, I think, out there.
You've got to we're a land of the free. And we got to be free. And they try and take it away from us. I'm fighting it every way I know how. I like the old. I don't like change. I do not like change. Ain't never been a change done that was for my benefit. You can't convince me of that. I like the old way. It's the way I was raised. I've lived it for all these years. Change ain't good.
Well, sometimes. Sometimes change is good.
It ain't. Look at your trucking industry.
Right.
They've destroyed it. It's no longer fun. Trucking ain't fun no more.
A lot has changed in regard to
Used to the old good old
industry.
boys. Oh God. It was a blast every time you went out.
We ought to, what instead of the podcast next time, what we're going to do when we're a little bit further down the road with Gateway is we're going to start making dramatized documentaries, and we'll do your.
I'll play Charlie in the remake movie of your life. I'll get to play younger Charlie.
Oh my God! You don't put that out. Charlie's I've been around her. I ain't gonna lie about it. From the time I was a child, I wasn't allowed to go on no school trips because the teachers wouldn't take responsibility for me. They didn't have no liquor they need drunk. They didn't have no girls they need pumped up. So I couldn't go. Dad would let me out at night. Said he couldn't trust me out of his sight.
Sounds like a wise guy. Sounds like a wise man.
I was mean. I ain't gonna lie to you about it. I was mean. But the times that I grew up in made me who I am. My dad was paralyzed from his waist down for over 3 years. Back in the 50s, early 50s. And it forced us to live off of the land. Mama many a time would give me a pan or a little paper bag and a knife and tell me to go out in the field and find us something to eat. A pasture field. I go out and I'm just a little fella. And it was rough time back then. Shell corn by the light of the fire in the fireplace. Sit around in there and shell corn till up in the night. Your hands be raw. Started to get tough. And shell it by the bushels. Take it and have it ground, and you get back maybe one sack, and they get the rest of the corn. You know, for the grind bill.
Mm-hmm.
So we have something to eat. No grease. Use meat skin, send your hair off of it, throw it in there greasy stuff. I know how it is to live. Simple. You know, off of the land.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I was raised up. When you grow up like I grew up, you grow up hard, fast, mean. Because you're going to protect yourself and your family against any and all comers. And that's what we done. And we worked from before daylight till after dark. And by the time I got out of school, I drank a lot of liquor. I'd done wrecked several cars. And I served sometimes 2 and 3 a week.
Pretty fast.
They said I was wild.
All right, I've got the most important question. You ready?
He's ready.
He's ready. What's your favorite dessert?
Favorite dessert?
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to hear that.
What does that mean?
I don't know. What's your, of the typical desserts that most people have after their typical dinner?
You mean like fruit or vegetables?
Yeah, okay. Something like that.
Oh, well. For dessert, I guess a peach.
Just a peach? Like a peach cobbler?
A
Peach
cobbler,
pie.
it's something that's got peach in it. Or strawberry milkshake. But that's a drink, I guess. But yeah, I guess a peach cobbler or a blackberry cobbler, something like that.
There we go.
I like that answer.
If you are really wanting to make me happy, you go back to the old days and you make me, you take dried apples and make me a fried apple pie.
Okay. Fried apple pie.
That's
That's
it.
what we owe you.
Okay.
You know them old-timey fried apple pies, they take apples and slice them down, take them up on the roof and let the sun dry them. Granny would have them by the 100-pound sacks full when you went into the winter. Come spring, there wouldn't be a slice of apple no more. She'd keep that stove going, fixing them fried apple pie. Load them things down when sun got there was good.
It's making me hungry.
Huh?
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, Charlie, thank you for spending some time meeting with us. Again, I wanted to say how appreciative we are for you. We're really happy that you're part of the Gateway team, and we're grateful for your service in the military, in fighting for and defending our country. That means a lot as well.
Thank you all.